Hi, and welcome to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm Ange, MacCabe, CEO and co-founder of Intuitive Performance. I'm a performance coach, HR professional, whole person leadership facilitator, and your host. The Human Side of Business podcast is fueled by the genuine curiosity to understand how personal characteristics and skills can be leveraged to drive individual and team performance, tangible outcomes, and ultimately organizational success within business. Each podcast is devoted to sharing knowledge, expanding our learning edges, and exploring the trends in corporate culture towards growing the emotional intelligence of organizations. I'm so glad you're here. Hi, and a warm welcome to the Elevate Business podcast. Both myself, Ange MacCabe, and Scott Russ are your hosts. We have the pleasure of introducing you to Brad Reiser, who is the founder and CEO at Endeavor Technologies Corp. Understanding the importance of collaboration, Endeavor takes a partner-focused approach by engaging the diverse backgrounds of their team to produce leading-edge solutions. Working in a disruptive environment, Brad has had to learn to grow and adapt to a changing technology and industry. As a bootstrapped organization, Endeavor currently supports a team of plus 20 members with plans to grow exponentially in the coming years. We're very excited to have Brad join us here today. Welcome, Brad.
Thanks for having me, Ange and Scott. Great to be here.
Our pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and your journey.
Yeah, it's we started in 2011, so we just crossed over our 10th year.
Congrats.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. Honestly, it feels short in some respects, but also pretty long road. But Endeavor is called Endeavor because it's about the journey, not about the destination, and we enjoy every minute of it. So we started in 2011. We actually started off as an engineering service company, and due to some of the clients that we were working with.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got nudged into developing products. So when we had an opportunity to develop a product, I jumped at it. We had a lot of support from the National Research Council of Canada, Alberta Innovates. Very thankful for that non-dilutive funding and really the mentorship and leadership that both of those organizations provided Endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been developing ever since. And there's been challenges, a lot of obstacles, but it's made us stronger and very cohesive as a group. As growing up from just the concept and the ideas, lots of hits and misses, a lot of learning, but it really just galvanized us as a group.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And tell us more about you and your journey as a CEO.
Yeah, sure. So, first time CEO. So learning on the go every day. Really, when I was a young boy, I either wanted to play in the National Hockey League or start my own business. So, obviously I wasn't good enough to play in the National Hockey League. So here we are. So really for me, I've been working since I was 14 years old. My dad worked in the pipeline industry, so he got me a job at the tender age of 14. Really, that's where I learned how to work, and it kind of taught me how to be a man, to be honest with you. But really understanding how hard people work, how to make things a little bit more efficient. Really kind of looking ahead, because I was, I was the low guy on the totem pole when I was 14, and I wasn't even a person. Didn't really know who I was, but to have, that work ethic and understanding, what the blue collar industry and the pipeline industry. I really see a lot of me as a CEO kind of got implemented at a really early age. So hard work and focus and just showing up on time. if I was late, if I slept in, man, I heard about it.
And when you say showing up on time, we're not talking about 9 a.m. here, are we?
Yeah.
No, some mornings it was, up at 5, hour drive, and you're welding at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So
Yeah.
it was good. So really, I think my my career really started when I was 14. Maybe early before that. I grew up on a farm. My family's all farmers and stuff like that. So but then really it takes a village to start a company. So I always ask questions. Our clients, I'd say, how do you organize your company? What do you do for year end? What's the best way to do things? So I was never afraid to ask questions and just learn and understand a little bit more. And this really helped me. And I think really parking your ego at the door and not afraid to ask questions, even if it kind of sounds dumb or something. At least you ask why a bunch of times. My kids do that all the time. But it really kind of gets to the core under the root cause of the problem, and really define objectives and stuff. So, and then really for me, it's, asking lots of questions, reading lots of books, podcasts, like whatever you can. And ultimately it's, I think my biggest success as a CEO is just hiring really good people and giving them the autonomy to bring their strengths into the organization and really be a team in your decision-making process. Because I certainly don't have all the answers, and neither does the rest of my team. But as a group, we're pretty strong.
Well, that's fantastic, Brad. And what I'm hearing there is like those formative years at a young age really help shape your work ethic as a CEO. And then even launching Endeavor in its young age, it was leveraging the expertise of others, whether that was institutions or other organizations around you, whether it was asking clients questions as to how they do things, which I think is really vulnerable, where you're trying to come in and think, not come in as an expert, but you know what I mean? And then building upon that, surrounding yourself with other people that know more than you, and being able to check your ego at the door. How has those things kind of shaped you as a leader, and how might your team describe your leadership style?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a little difficult for me, anyways, to talk about my leadership style because
you're humble.
But ultimately, it's about leading by example. I really try to be the hardest worker. I was never the most skilled or most talented in anything really, but I don't think people can take away your work ethic and your hard work. So I really try to, like I said before, show up on time and put in the work and lead by example. Really, we talked about leaving your ego at the door and getting input from whoever, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, sometimes my office door is shut. I just have to get work done, but we try to have a open door policy, and a lot of gold is found just in conversations. And trusting to the team, allow people to be creative. For us, we're kind of a creative company, but we're not hiring thoroughbreds to be in a fenced pasture, right? We want our thoroughbreds to run and be creative and come up with innovation and suggestions and just let people roam. And that it's kind of the essence of it. It's probably a little bit more difficult. It's not all paradise and it's not a utopia at Endeavor, but we truly trust each other, and
it's huge.
And we're all kind of friends at Endeavor. We love what we're doing. It's very challenging, but it's kind of who we are. We're disruptive, we're gritty, and we just love what we're doing. And it makes a job as a leader that much more easier when, everyone's pulling the same direction.
Yeah, exactly. And you're kind of alluding in the sense of giving us some insights to your environment, but tell us a bit more. We're always curious about the how when it comes to creating sustainable work environments for your team members to thrive.
Yeah. Well, we're doing a bunch of different things right now. So we try to have a cohesive group, but we do have to segment our business off. But, for instance, we have, a group of developers, actually two groups, one working on more of a platform development and one working on our simulation engine. They're complementary products and services, but, very different groups. Okay. And a lot of the, we have touch points all the time. Mm-hmm. We have virtual happy hours now every Friday, and we have a couple of individuals within the organization that, one we call our glue girl. So she talks to everyone. She understands, some of the pains and the stresses. And then, if, we hear enough of that, then, we have a problem. Our management team has to change. So we have lots of touch points when we're kind of designing our products or technologies that we're working on. Mm-hmm. We have everyone having an input in really, if from a software development team, you get so focused on the little details, you kind of sometimes miss the bigger picture. So people that are kind of foreign to that specific project, mm-hmm. they come up with the best gold, and it's and it feels like everyone's kind of has a vested interest into the project. But yeah, a lot of the people that don't necessarily code or develop different technology stacks, mm-hmm. They come in with fresh eyes, and they come up with some pretty creative solutions. So everyone, in my opinion, and I haven't heard otherwise, feels like they're very vested into the success of the company, right? And having those inputs in, multiple times throughout a month, just adds to the cohesion in the environment of our company.
It sounds like a great place to work, Brad, and it makes me even more curious to understand further as to what does the day in the life look like. So knowing that you have a growing team of individuals that are working towards some great things cohesively, how do you ensure that you as a CEO and your management team are showing up for your team members, knowing that each person is an individual, having potentially somewhat differentiating wants or needs?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you put 10 people together in a room, they can't order a pizza. So, yeah. And, it's like we have a lot of interesting people at Endeavor. We have a few, especially, from the developer perspective, they're looking at like 3 decimal points of accuracy, and they're really, they delve down into the details like mm-hmm. more than most people do. It's just mm-hmm. their nature of writing really accurate code and stuff. So they have different needs than more of our our artists or our client facing people that they have different needs and wants as well. So mm-hmm. There's extroverts, there's introverts, there's different personality types. And yeah, we try to do team building events where mm-hmm. it is fairly inclusive for different personality types and different needs and requirements. Mm-hmm. It's not a catch-all, obviously, but is really important for one person to have a proper, accurate record of their vacation days, where some people never take vacation days off. So I think it's for us, it's trying to do a catch-all approach, making everyone feel mm-hmm. comfortable like as a team, but individually we do take, I wouldn't say special conditions, but we do try to, have different types of deliveries of team building events that cater towards a certain personality type. And we try to roll that around, fairly, I guess.
That makes total sense. Yeah. So I'm hearing, Brad, that, there's at a high level for your group, there's engagement activities, and then there's also the individual piece. So it's really taking time to understand your different kind of niches and different individual wants as well within there.
Themes that are coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit easier with a relatively small team. We do leverage a lot of partnership networks that are extend our team from 20 to like 120, depending on how busy the months are.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's cohesion with our internal team and then cohesion with our external team. But it's a little bit like we really focus on our group of 20 or 30 people that we have at Endeavor, and it's a little bit easier to manage that. So as we are growing and we are expanding, how do we kind of keep that startup culture, the grit and the excitement and the team, that small team environment in a bigger organization? So that's something that the management team and I are always focusing on as we're kind of evolving with our company.
Definitely, for sure.
And so I think this is a great segue, Brad, where like kind of looking at the past 10 years, you guys just celebrated in 2021, 10 years bootstrapping the organization. What does the vision look like for the next 10 years?
Yeah, Scott, when I know you kind of prepped me with some questions, but this one I would have to say is the most difficult one. From 2011 when we started Endeavor, I would have never dreamed that Endeavor would have been doing what we are 10 years later. And you sprinkle in, well, it's not even sprinkle, it's like a fire hose to the face, like how like technology, like
it is.
Yeah, it's I'm reading a book, Singularity by Ray Kurzweil, and it talks about the technology versus biology over the lifetime of human history. And it's like you get the past like decade versus the last like 50 years versus the last 1,000 years. And it's just like, it's a straight up technology curve. Yeah. It's nuts. So coming back to Scott's question, what does the next 10 years look like? We're very motivated, focused group. We're launching a bunch of new technologies in next year, starting in January. And we're a pretty optimistic group, but we think all these are going to be hits for 2022. Really what we try to do is we try to have a base platform that can be used multiple different ways. So with all of our code, it's like we're in the energy industry, but like, can this be used in the medical industry? So we can do that, to answer my own comment. But so in 10 years, I think we're going to look much differently. We are a simulation technology company. So the adoption of these types of technologies, it really is ramping up with, technologies like artificial intelligence and predictive analytics and stuff like that. We don't really run in that area. We, our stuff kind of focuses on stuff outside the box where, you don't even have a trend for it. So we can kind of predict the future, but in different ways. There's a bunch of applications for that to our research and understanding hasn't been done the way we've been doing it before. So, and I'll have a caveat here. I'm extremely optimistic. I'm a big dreamer, but I really think that the next 10 years are really going to cater to some of the technologies that we've been developing for the last 10 years. So, so it'll be a bunch of new use cases, a bunch of different industries, and it's going to be a wild ride, I think.
Yeah, definitely something to watch for sure, everyone. And Brad, something else came up for me, and you said it in the sense of, the water hose of information to the face. And so how do you continue to keep your team members engaged when, oftentimes it could be this one thing you think you're going from A to B, and you might have to go from A to D to C to B to Y to Z, excuse me. So yeah, how do you prevent burnout in your team members and keep them engaged, as well as setting those expectations around, oftentimes there's a lot of pivots when you're dealing with the technology at the level that you are?
Yeah, you guys ask great questions.
I'm just really curious.
Yeah, so I mean, I think for me as an entrepreneur, and I love technology and stuff, it's really easy to chase the shiny objects,
right?
And I would like to chase all of them, like, don't get me wrong, but yeah, so for us, like we don't turn down many projects, but if an opportunity comes up, we try our best efforts to determine what the potential market size could be for that specific opportunity. If it deviates a lot from our core platform, then we think twice about it.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Endeavor didn't start off as a simulation company. It started off as an engineering service company, but there was an opportunity that we kind of looked at the market. We looked at the existing technologies that were out there and what that potential market size was. And it was a no-brainer for us. But, and I alluded to before with, the help from the National Research Council of Canada, Alberta Innovates in Alberta here. And I guess it was kind of a cheat code to like these organizations, that's what they do. They help companies, evolve to generate, revenue for the country of Canada. They really want to increase their exports, so they have a lot of exposure to different types of technologies, different types of leading edge technology companies, and they learn, and they're all extremely intelligent people. But
right,
I had some pretty out there ideas what this technology could do, and then with a lot of the questions that they would ask, they would say, well, would you consider this, or like, why would you do that if all these other companies do it? So like very early on, I was kind of pressed with getting asked why a whole bunch of times, which really I took that along my leadership path on asking these why. And if you ask why enough times, then you really you get the idea kind of concrete in your mind, and you flash out what all these what if scenarios could be. So we do that a lot of times, and ask each other why a whole bunch of times, and if it sticks, and we kind of have a collaborative approach, and we all vote, yeah, we should do this. This is something that will lead us over the next 10 years or 5 years or whatever. Then we go for it. And a lot of times we ask a lot of questions as well to our clients. If we do something like this, would this be beneficial to you?
Right.
Like, yeah, it sounds good. And so we ask that. We don't ask that to one segment of companies within an industry. We ask, post secondaries, or people that are the frontline people that utilize our technology, but maybe not necessarily decision makers. So we really feel it's beneficial to ask different roles and responsibilities within our organization and ask different types of organizations if this is a good idea. And
right.
yeah, if there is a consensus that, yeah, this is a good idea, then we kind of roll with it. It's even better when they pay for it before we even start developing.
I love this idea around almost it's creating a procedure around decision making, right? And so it's identifying, okay, well, what is the size of the market if we were to go down this path or follow this new shiny object, because we know there are many of them. And then from there, asking the simple questions that, you know what, oftentimes we don't even ask our clients or those around us, as to like, well, hey, would this be a good fit for you? Where sometimes when we work so close to a problem, it can be easy to be like, yeah, this would be great. Then we actually talk to the outside world about it. They're like, well, we like that, but we like it changed a little bit this way, a little bit this way. And so I think it's great how you guys have been able to adapt over the past 10 years and, you know, and turn into the organization that you are today.
Yeah, it's and it's about timing too. Like you can have the best technology, but you release it a little early and it just doesn't have that stickiness. So it really happened for us. We had this technology to stream video game assets online, but everyone was still going to the classroom. So we had that in 2017. No one wanted to buy it. And then COVID happened. You did need to access our technology remotely. So we were ready to roll that out when
wow.
the need was there. So did we want to sit on that technology for 3 or 4 years? Probably not. But it is a bit of a balancing act. There's a ton of companies, a ton of startup companies, a ton of technology companies that they come out with very innovative ideas and business plans, but the timing is everything. That the market has to be ready. So that definitely comes into our decision-making protocol as well.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure, Brad, we could jam with you for another hour, but we're coming to an end here. And so the last question that one of the last questions we like to always ask is, what are 3 words of inspiration that you would like the world to hear?
Yeah, so it's not 3, it's 6. And
okay, fine.
And this came from a Elon Musk interview. And how can't you be inspired by that guy? I mean, like, the guy's a walking science fiction movie. But in one of his interviews, and it really resonated with me, and he said, ordinary people can choose to be extraordinary. So when you kind of eliminate the limitations, self-imposed limitations, and you have a cohort of people that kind of buy into that same type of vision and philosophy, you can really move mountains. And so that would be my 6 words.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
No, I was just going to say, I love that. And kind of bringing things to a close. Where would be the best place for our listeners to connect with you?
I'm not a big social media guy. I'm a pretty private guy. But yeah, you found me on LinkedIn, Brad Reiser, Endeavor usually pops up, or I'm teaching my 5 and 7-year-old how to skate and play hockey. So the outdoor rink's another good option.
All right, there you go.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Brad, for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing your entrepreneurial insights with Intuitive Performance and our subscribers.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot, guys.
And for those who would like to learn more about Endeavor Technologies Corp, we're going to be providing a link to Brad's company's profile on the Elevate Business Podcast title page. Take good care. Thanks for listening to the Human Side of Business podcast. I'm glad you could join us. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to stay updated with our latest content, make sure to visit our website. The link can be found in the episode description, where you can subscribe to the podcast, sign up for our newsletter, and learn more about our whole person leadership services. Sounds interesting? Explore the Whole Person Leadership Cohort by Intuitive Performance, a unique program that offers unparalleled support to managers on every step of their leadership journey. Our program features evidence-based assessments, workbooks, group coaching, and interactive learning experiences to help you level up your leadership skills. Reach out today to apply to one of our upcoming cohorts. Until next time, take care and stay curious.